We are going to be doing our Chocolate Valentine Day tutorial. So we're going to start by going to File, New, and in our new document box, we're going to make sure our unit of measurement is pixels. Your width should be 2,320. Your height of 1,436. Resolution 300. Color mode at RGB. And your background should be white. When you have all your settings, go ahead and select OK, or for me it's Create. Now that we have our blank canvas, we're going to start by filling in our background and foreground colors. So I'm going to double click the top one, and in where it has the hashtag, I'm going to type in A1643B and click OK. Next, I'm going to switch these around and double click again. And now I'm going to put in, again, where the hashtag is, 211712 and click OK. Whatever color on top is the color we are using. So the first one we want to do is the lighter brown color. And I'm going to come over to my paint bucket. If you don't see your paint bucket, sometimes the gradient tool is there instead, so you can right click and then grab your paint bucket. And I'm just going to click once on my background to fill in this whole area with that light brown color. Next, I'm going to go ahead and switch it back, again using the little double-headed arrow, to use my dark brown. I'm going to come over to my paintbrush, and I'm going to make it, not too hard. We don't want something too crazy, so I'm going to go to about 50%. Doesn't really matter. The size doesn't really matter, but I am going to make this a little bit bigger because we are making a big shape. And the shape doesn't matter. You're just really getting this brown, dark brown color onto your canvas, and we're just going to fill that in. Again, it doesn't really matter what the shape looks like as long as you have something, I guess, that looks like that. So if you have something that looks like this now, we're going to go to Filter and then down to Liquify. So what Liquify does is it is going to move my image around a little bit, and doesn't really matter how it ends up looking because we're going to be changing this a lot. You do want to make sure that you have the first tool selected, which is the forward wrap tool. It looks like a little finger pushing. And again, I'm going to make this a little bit larger. And now I'm just going to kind of click and drag and kind of pull this to be, a little bit weird. Doesn't really matter. The only thing that matters is if you accidentally pull down and end up with that checkerboard, you want to go ahead and move it back up. So I'm just going to do this a couple of times, get, whatever going on. And when I'm done, I'm going to go ahead and click OK. Next, I'm going to go to Filter, down to Distort, and then over to Twirl. You want to, in the degrees box, do 368 and then click OK. Now, not much happened, but what you can do is go to Filter, Twirl, Filter, Twirl. You can do this several times until you get what you're looking for. Also, if you notice you're not getting exactly what you want, you can come back over to your foreground and background color, make your light color the top color again, use your paintbrush, and go ahead and you can just add a little bit more of that light color in there. Because again, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to go to Filter, Twirl, and all of me doing that Filter, Twirl is just using the exact same setting I already used. So now you can do this as many times as you want until you're happy with it. So I'm happy with mine right about there. Now we're going to create a new layer. So I'm going to come down here and click my new layer button. It looks like a post-it note with a little folder or a little folded up corner. And we're going to, you can do one of two things here. You can either go ahead and use your paintbrush again, and you can switch it back to default colors. and you can make this smaller. And you can go ahead and write Valentine's Day if you would like. If this is not the option you want, you do not have to create a new layer. You could grab your text tool, grab a font that you like, and then go ahead and type, let's see, Valentine's Day. Now, if you do it with the paintbrush, make sure that you definitely create a new layer, because if you don't like it and you do it on the background layer, you won't be able to go back and change it later. If you have it on the new layer, as you can see, I hit it. I can now delete this layer if I decide I want to do the text, which I do. And now I can come back to my text layer, click that box, and now I bring that back. I'm going to go ahead and do Control T, and I'm going to resize my text a little bit. This is up to you whether you do this or not. I'm going to hit Enter and then kind of bring it to the center. If you want, you can click on the Valentine's Day, hold Shift, click on Background, and you'll notice at the top you get some alignment tools. So I'm going to do my centered align to center it in my artboard. Now that it's centered, I'm going to go ahead and change my text color to black, just so it's easier to see here in a second. Now that I have my text black, I'm going to go ahead and go to Filter, Liquify. It's going to ask you about rasterizing it. I'm going to go ahead and convert to Smart Object, but if you're using a different version of Photoshop, go ahead and click OK or Rasterize. So now that we're back in the Liquify, I'm going to go ahead and just click and drag a couple of times. You see, like, I'm kind of manipulating that font a little bit to look like it's melting. And you can do this wherever you want, as much as you want. Doesn't really matter. I'm just going to do this a few more times because at this point, you probably get what it's supposed to look like. Kind of making it look like it's chocolate melting away. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and click OK. Again, yours will look different than mine, and you can do this as much as you would like. So now you can see it kind of looks like it's melting with my chocolate background. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and add some layer styles now to our text. So I'm going to go ahead and go to Layer, Layer Style, and down to Drop Shadow. So now I'm going to have my Layer Style panel. We're going to go ahead and put in a few different settings. You don't have to really change anything right now with the drop shadow, but we will go ahead and click on our bevel and emboss, and we're going to change that. Couple of things. We're going to change our highlight mode here. Screen is fine, but we're going to go ahead and change the color to a 9B8474 and click OK. And now I'm going to double click on the next one where it says shadow mode and double click there. Again, I'm going to go ahead and type in 2C as in cat 1109 and click OK. I'm going to have an inner bevel style, a technique of smooth, a depth of 93, a size here of 33. Soften's good. We want our angle to be 120. And you should have, again, your screen with kind of like a light brown color, and then your shadow mode with like a dark brown color. And our opacity is going to be, for the shadow mode, 88%. And then the highlight mode is going to be 100%. We are going to click on the glass contour And we're going to bring up the contour editor, and we have one in the image right now that's like a straight line. So we want something a little bit different, almost like a little mountain. So if I double click on the actual, let me do that one more time. If I double click here on the actual half and half box, I'll get my editor here. So we're just going to change this. We're going to add an anchor point maybe right about here. And now what I can do is drag that up, and then I can bring this one down to kind of create almost like a mountainy kind of look. And I'm going to create another one because we want that to be a little bit sharper. Perfect. So you can see it kind of looks like a hill or a mountain. So all I had to do is create a couple anchor points and manipulate that a little bit. Go ahead and click OK when you're done. So now it kind of looks like a mountain there. Next, we're going to enable our satin. We're going to change our blend mode to screen. We're going to double click this color, and we're going to go ahead and type in our 583720. Click OK. We're going to have our opacity at 46%, our angle at 19 degrees. Our distance is going to be 220. Our size is going to be 45. And again, we're going to set the contour. It's going to look a little bit different. It's going to look like almost like these little staircase or maybe a bumpy hill. There we go. This one is called, just so you know, rounded steps. All right. Now we're going to do our gradient overlay. We want our blend mode to be normal, our opacity to be 54, our styles linear, our angle is 90, and our scale is 100%. So now we're going to change our gradient, and we have to use a couple different colors. So I'm going to click actually on the white bar or whatever your gradient looks like to open up my gradient editor. And we're going to have 3 colors. Now, most likely you have 2 color stops. So all you have to do is bring your mouse up, and you'll see it becomes like a little hand. Click once to add a stop. So now we're going to start on the left side, and I'm going to double click, and I'm going to type in my 6F3B as in boy 14 and click OK. I'm going to do the middle one now, so I'm going to double click that and do 512 E as an elephant 15. Click OK. And now I'm going to click on my last one, and we're going to do 2F0D as in dog 03 and click OK. And if you want, you can, tweak these a little bit. It doesn't have to be perfectly in the center or anything like that. So once you're happy with it, go ahead and click OK. So you should have some settings that look like this. Finally, we're going to do our last one, which is our pattern overlay. And we're going to click on the pattern box here. Click on our little settings wheel. We're going to select the pattern from the menu, which is going to be patterns here. And when it asks you if you want a pen, we're going to click append. And now you should find something right here. Maybe in a different spot for yours. Mine's called satin. Kind of looks like a watery effect, if you will. And again, we have our blend mode now as multiply, our opacity as 27, and our scale at 880. And then go ahead and click OK. And you should end up with something like this. Looks like chocolate. Go ahead and continue on to the next video to continue this tutorial.